A lot of people think the Knicks won the trade because they got themselves an all-star and an all-NBA player. But I'll say the Timberwolves also think they won the trade too because they got themselves an all-star too and got themselves additional roster depth. But I'll tell you that I don't think any of the teams won. This is a win for the players. Sure. So two guys essentially trade places. One guy is going to a team where he'll get to play more without the pressure of the media in New York.
It's great to have you join us on another exciting edition of MOSHOOD Sports. My name is Kadiri MOSHOOD. It's about that time again where all basketball lovers across the world all come together to fight for a common goal. I'm talking of no other league but the NBA right here. And we'll be looking at the impact of the off-season trades, and I've got some basketball aficionados in the studio with me today. There's no other person but FARASADE and KEHINDE OLATUJA. It's great to have you guys in the studio with me today.
I feel blessed, I'm sat next to, if not the best or one of the best NBA, specialists or analysts in the country. So yes, it feels good to be on this show.
I don't blush anymore. This is what we do. My apologies, I'm just joking. Thanks, very nice to be here.
I must talk about the New York Knicks right now. And what's going on in New York Knicks? We've seen the likes of Karl Anthony Towns and also Mikal Bridges, join this team. And should the NBA be wary of the New York Knicks going forward?
We're confused. I'll be very honest. We're confused. So the Knicks were already yinging towards having a very small ball lineup. They were calling themselves the Nova Knicks. Mm-hmm. They had Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Dante DiVincenzo, and Josh Hart. It was practically the team that won the championship for Villanova in the NCAA tournament, reprised again with a coach that like playing a lot of defense and making sure things are, stack up front. A lot of minutes, a lot of active hands, a lot of defense. Guess what we heard? 3 days ago, a friend called me, says, "Farah, what is happening? A trade just happened." I said, "Yeah, what trade?" Said the New York Knicks. I was sleeping. I go to my phone and I see that the Knicks had traded away Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo to the Minnesota Timberwolves of all people, and they traded Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks. So you look at a team that was trying to play small ball basketball, essentially trade for a center, 7-foot guy that can score from the outside, score from the inside, give you 3-range scoring without much defense, and you lose Julius Randle, who's an all-star, lose Dante DiVincenzo, a two-way guard that can play inside, outside, and guard about 3 positions. So people ask me, who would you say won the trade? A lot of people think the Knicks won the trade because they got themselves an all-star and an all-NBA player. But I'll say the Timberwolves also think they won the trade too because they got themselves an all-star too and got themselves additional roster depth. But I'll tell you that I don't think any of the teams won. This is a win for the players. Sure. So two guys essentially trade places. One guy is going to a team where he'll get to play more without the pressure of the media in New York, Julius Randle. Yeah. The other guy changes a team where that team thinks their best player is a young guy, Anthony Edwards. And he goes to the Knicks where he's the best offensive player, maybe outside of Jalen Brunson, and that could go both ways. I don't see this being a plus essentially for both teams. They will still get about the same number of wins from the previous season. But changing scenery usually brings life to players, so maybe that will help.
Looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves right now, they've got Julius Randle, and also he spoke about Mike Conley, and we can say that this is one of those players that solidifies your team whenever you're down. You have something to bank on. And looking at Anthony Edwards, looking at Jaden McDaniels, looking at Rudy Gobert, how far do you think Minnesota this time around can go?
So it's very simple. For Minnesota, you're looking at a franchise that they want to be very ambitious, if I'm going to use that word. And with Edwards in that team, there's Gobert, and now adding Rondo to it, I think it's going to give them so much options. I mean, in terms of taking the next step to what they did last season. I mean, where they kind of maybe achieve success to some level. I mean, I know for Minnesota they want to definitely take the next step. So but using KAT for me is huge, because with Randle you never can tell if it's going to be LD at sometimes you tend to use him at important stages and all of that. But if Randle can stay fit and stay LD, then have a superb chemistry with Edwards and the Gobert. Trust me, Minnesota, they would take the next step.
So Farah, who's got the better trades, Minnesota or the New York Knicks? I'm talking about Kat and Julius Randle right now.
So I'll give them, let me use American grading styles. I'll give them a B plus. I don't think those trades were necessary. I don't think they were necessary. So a lot of people disagree, but fundamentally NBA teams build based on two things: who's your best player, who's your franchise guy, and who's in your conference. The Timberwolves built a team to beat the Denver Nuggets. Minnesota were the only team in the NBA that had 2 7-footers in their starting lineup, and those guys were built to play one guy, Nikola Jokic. They beat that guy, got to the finals, and they got mally-whooped by Dallas Mavericks. You know why? Because having 2 7-footers against a team that has very fast guards, ball-dominant guards, gives you mismatches everywhere. So I think they made that trade to prepare their roster now for the Dallas Mavericks. The problem with that, when you build a team expecting to play one opposition, when you finish with that opposition, the next team won't go. You get what I'm saying? So you need to be open-minded with roster building. I'm going to quickly use the Boston Celtics. Quick segue. The Celtics built a team that can play anybody in the NBA.
Sure.
They have 4 guards or 4 forwards that can guard all 4 positions, and they have a center that can protect the rim. They're aggressive on defense, they're mismatch on offense, and when you go to the rim, you have a 7-footer that will distract you, make you cry, and make you go back. Now you trade away Kat, who for me is among the best 5-6 offensive guys, and you leave Gobert. Gobert is a defensive player of the year, but he never ends games. You saw it at the FIBA World Cup. You saw it at the Olympics. You saw it even last year in the finals, because he's a net minus offensively. So let's say you have a first 5 that has Mike Conley, DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and Gobert. When you play teams that can put Gobert on the center field and make him a mismatch, who do you go to? Naz Reid? Naz Reid is a great guy offensively, but he doesn't give you much defensively. So you now have a mismatch because you're scoring, but you're not defending. So things will get better. It's a long season. That's why the NBA is always seen as a marathon. You have 82 games. You have your first 22 games to figure out what your best lineups are. You get better. I go to the Knicks. I think the Knicks will eventually, they were always going to get better. They played the playoffs injured, and they still got as far as they did. Adding Kat to that lineup gives you an extra scorer on a team that relied solely on Jalen Brunson. He scored 29 points, had about 5 assists and 4 rebounds. Now having Kat brings you another 20-point scorer, another all-star, and another person you can rely on. Let's not forget the earlier trade they made. Kat's trade is making it feel like we didn't have a guy like Michael Bridges come to town. He's 6'7", 6'8". He's Iron Man, never been injured in the NBA, and he can defend 3 positions and score when you need. So you have a team also that is, both teams are on a trajectory to be in their conference finals if injuries fall in their favor and if they get the right momentum at the right time. So I'll grade both of them on a B plus, because I feel they were already good how they were constructed. But I mean, this is hindsight 2020 without the hindsight, because I can't tell till we start. Injuries can come one way, somebody might get traded, but when we get there, we'll know if I'm right. But as we said, I think it's B plus for both of them.
maybe I'm just overthinking it.
Yeah.
You know, right now looking at the roster of the New York Knicks, I'm looking at Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Michael Bridges, OG Anunoby, Katz. Who should be the boss driver? I know, you know, it would be a cliche for me to say that maybe this time around Jalen Brunson shouldn't be. But with this star powers, who should be?
Okay, so you know with basketball, yeah, it has got to a point where only one man, right, cannot, you know, take win a championship. So for your question, I would rather say if, for example, KAT and Brunson, they can forge a, you know, partnership.
I'm not talking about partnership
now.
I'm talking about the boss driver.
Definitely, it's Brunson.
It's Brunson.
I'll give it to Brunson. Yes.
He mentioned an important name. I don't know how it skipped me. OG Anunoby got 4 positions conveniently.
Yeah.
Conveniently. And guess what? They've paid everybody. Everybody on that roster is paid. So they don't have salary cap issues. Yeah. Everybody's okay. Money is spread around. They have a coach that knows how to work guys defensively.
Sure.
Do not be surprised if the Knicks are a problem.
I think
having 4 guys.
I think last season they were
a problem. Now adding Kat and Anunoby, Michael Bridges, Josh Hart, those guys can do the things that Kat and Brunson can do. They are your glue guys. Imagine having 4 or 5 glue guys on one roster. Massive.
Would the inclusion of, you know, talking about Julius Randle now, hinder the progress of talking of Anthony Edwards right there?
Nah. So part of why they traded Kat out is to hand the bag to him, the keys to the city to him. He went to FIBA and told everybody, to the Olympics and told everybody, once LeBron, once Curry, once Kevin Durant, they're gone, it's me. It's my league.
I can remember there was a time where Steve Kerr said he will be starting from the bench.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, Steve Kerr actually told him that at some point Dwayne Wade was starting from the bench.
Yeah.
And he said at that point there was, you know, Kobe Bryant, and there were some other players, you know, top players at the time. That now we have LeBron, who is Kobe Bryant of this team. Yeah. So he's actually, you know, he telling you that he's big. He
talks the talk, and he started walking the walk. He said some things over summer that I disagree with, but the boy doesn't drink any humble pie. But I don't mind. Everybody wants a superstar that can get things done.
Yeah.
Last year, so people think this year is his outcoming party. I think last year he did that already. He put everybody on notice. He carried that team on his back. When everybody, he took some humble pie when he played Dallas Mavericks because he spoke to Kyrie the wrong way, and Kyrie told him, "I'll give you the work," and he gave him the work.
Absolutely.
But that's what you want from a 22-year-old that wants to be the franchise star of your city.
Yeah.
You want someone that wants the spotlight. He's not running from it. They took Kat out of town, so nobody has to share too much possession with him. Okay. Basketball games nowadays are possession based. Yeah. There's about 50 more possessions than it was back in the day. You want most of those possessions to go to your best player. Kat was a super player. He's still a super player. But the thing is, if you want to accelerate the growth process of your stars, you give them the ball, hand them the keys to your offense, and let them go. That guy is athletic. That guy can score on all 3 levels, and he's just 22.
So
imagine how much more he can learn. It's a city. We're just there to watch.
And Kehinde, which trades and signing will have the biggest impact in the upcoming NBA season?
So for me, the only one that comes to my head right now is I would say I'm keeping a close watch on KAT to New York Knicks. And this is why New York Knicks, I love what they achieved last season, you know, in terms of the Eastern Conference, you know, finishing second. I mean, that was superb behind Boston Celtics. And for New York Knicks, I'm like, the question I'm asking myself is with the addition of KAT, I'm looking to see what KAT will bring to that franchise. So for me, my question is, my answer is, you know, clear, KAT to New York Knicks.
How important is Derek White to Boston Celtics?
Wow, great question. They are shooting us almost. They're getting us right. So the thing is, people don't understand what that guy brings to a team. We had a lot of bad press about why he was picked as the last guy to replace Kawhi. He showed us at the Olympics. So on a team that has so many stars, you need a glue guy. I spoke about the New York Knicks and having glue guys. That's what Derek White is. So traditionally, most times the best five for the Celtics is usually Jrue Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. You know what he brings? He doesn't need the ball to play. I tell people every time, basketball, like every other team sport, is one ball, 5 people on a very small court. If all of them want the ball, how do they share the ball? He's the one guy on that team that does not need the ball to score. He's the one guy on that team that plays defense and allows other guys be them. You need people like that are glue guys and selfless players. The Celtics have 3 of those guys. Kristaps Porzingis can shoot and be away from the ball.
Big man.
Big man. Jrue Holiday is a superstar that doesn't want the ball. Doesn't want any of this.
Defender.
Exactly.
Yes.
Then Derek White, another elite defender that can defend 3 positions, shoots the 3 ball very well. And guess what? His assist numbers are underrated because he plays with other guys that need the ball. On a team that has Jason Tatum, I won't call him a ball hog, but he needs the ball to thrive. On a team that has Jaylen Brown, another guy that needs the ball to thrive. Imagine having a selfless 4th guy, 5th option that can still give you 14, 15 points. Quickly take a look at this. On that team, they have guys all capable of scoring, averaging 15 points over a season. And we wonder why they went through the Eastern Conference that way. They had 15 point scorers. I'm not looking at the guys that scored 20. That's Jaylen Brown. And let's not forget, Kristaps Porzingis was a 20 point scorer when he was in New York. So they have 5 guys that can average 15 and a bench that can go off 2. Derek White is that one guy that can play with the bench unit, play with the starting unit, and you never hear bad press. Nothing. And guess what? He will defend your best guard, allow Jrue Holiday rest. He will defend your best forward, allow Jrue Holiday or Jason Tatum rest. Nothing better than a glue guy.
Kenny, Jaylen Brown, the best player in the final series.
Yes.
And looking at that height that he just attained, should we say that Jaylen Brown is a much more reliable player than Jason Tatum?
No, I would not say that.
So those that give you the MVP.
It's okay. That's why after the finals, we saw his mom, that's Jason Tatum, and the mom saying, "Okay, what are you guys going to say now?" I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this Jason Tatum, but I think for me, I'll be a little bit, maybe can I use the word biased because I love both guys. So, but I wouldn't say Jaylen Brown is more important than Jason Tatum because for me, I feel like it's okay for us to have 2 best players in the same team coming together and being friends and having the right chemistry and the right hunger for the game. So for Jaylen Brown, he does his job perfectly. For Jason Tatum, amazing player, does his job too perfectly. So both of them is like 1 + 1, right? They give 1 + 1 is 1 with this guy. So for me, Brown is exceptional. I mean, you need Brown in Boston Celtics, you need Jason Tatum, and I mean, Farah said he gave us a proper assessment of that franchise. And when you look at Boston Celtics, for me, I'll tell you they are the most ambitious team in the NBA season.
All right, Farah, we saw a movement from the Brooklyn Nets some 4 seasons back where they recruited KD, Kyrie, the Beard, and this time around it feels as though Nick Claxton is the only guy that is left in that team right now. What went wrong with the Brooklyn Nets?
So we're in an era where everybody was trying to get their own super team.
Yeah.
The Golden State Warriors did it organically. They had a core and they added Kevin Durant to it. Miami did it when we got LeBron and got Chris Bosh. We forget that Boston Celtics did it too. They got Rondo, Paul Pierce, Garnett, and Ray Allen. We've always had super teams. It's how they were made that was the issue.
Sure.
The thing with super teams is you must get the right fit. We've seen it. Let me do a segue to football. Barca did it. Did it work? check when Messi, Neymar, Mbappe played together. They might have won certain things, but the overall goal was always a problem. It's usually not about the talent. It's about those talents understanding that I might need to take a back seat to the other guy. You know why Golden State worked? Nobody was going to disturb Kawhi when he was going. And I'll say this, it's not a hot take, it's facts only. There is no bigger star in basketball that has a better ego than Steph Curry. He was the centerpiece of what offense in sports was. Not basketball was played according to what Curry was doing. He allowed Kevin Durant come on his team. He didn't take minutes away from him, never took shine from Durant, and he allowed him play. You know why they didn't work in the Nets? You had Harden,
star powers,
needed the ball exactly. You had Kyrie, another guy that needed the ball. Then you had KD. People have one
a proper closer.
Yeah, people don't understand. He's a closer. KD doesn't need to dribble the ball 50 times to score 35.
He doesn't have to score 50 points. All night.
He can score a silent 35. What's a silent 35? He'll score 8 here, score 8 there, score 2 there. Then in the fourth quarter, just give him the ball and get out of the way. That's the kind of superstar he is.
Yeah.
So dynamic. I say something. He's one of the best unicorns basketball has ever seen.
Absolutely.
He's a confirmed 7-foot player that can dribble like a point guard, defend him like a 7-footer, and still score with fluidity. He got to a team where, let's not forget, he was on a team that had Kyrie that didn't want to play because of COVID restrictions. He didn't want the jab, so he couldn't play away games. And then he played with Harden that had, at that point, a certain style of play. It didn't help that the coach at that time was Steve Nash. Steve Nash was at that point, not at that point,
someone similar to Harden.
Exactly. He wanted a certain playing style that probably didn't fit, KD. And at the end of the day, stars don't win you games.
That's a big topic right there.
Yeah, we're going to get there. People will come for me. It's not about stars. Can your stars become a team, a unit? If they never become a unit, you won't win. When we get there, I'll go back to Lakers teams that had 4 Hall of Famers that didn't win.
Karl Malone,
Bryant, exactly. Who's the point guard?
O'Neal,
Gary Payton. They were old, but they are all Hall of Famers. The thing is, egos matter. When Miami won with Shaq, they won because Shaq went there and said, "This isn't my team. It's for that man, Dwayne Wade." When they started winning with LeBron, Dwayne Wade said, "I have won before. I'm going to teach you how to win." But at the end of the day, LeBron's the king. You need guys to understand what the pecking order is and let the pecking order work once it's time.
You said stars don't win you the championship, right? We've seen the dynasty created by the Golden State Warriors. We've seen the likes of KD, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and also Green.
Draymond Green.
It worked big time. So I'm still of that, theory.
You need stars to win.
Yes.
But those stars have to work as a team.
I'm still looking at, let's talk about, the Boston Celtics right now.
Yeah.
That team consists of, stars.
That work as a team. So let me help you with this now. So let's go back through the last 5 champions. We'll start with this last year, Celtics.
Yeah.
People forget that the Celtics have a young core that had been to conference finals and finals in the last 5. Exactly. They had lost so many times. They were bound to win. They did it. And that was, like you said, they had an ambitious ownership and an ownership that trusted the backroom management. What they did is they kept loading what the team needed. I thought they were going to have a downside once they lost their coach Ime Udoka, but guess what? The new coach came in, continued what the old coach did, and bettered things. Last year, the person that won the championship wasn't the coach or the players. It was the GM of that team. I'm forgetting his name now. He was their former coach of Butler. His name will get back. He saw a team and took away the heart and soul of the team. He traded him to Memphis and brought Drew Holiday. Not because his star wasn't good enough, But he knew at that point they had hit, they are plateaued. They needed to take another step. So we'll go to the previous team. Who are they? Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets are not your conventional team. They have one superstar that people don't think is a superstar, Nikola Jokic.
They even think he's a superstar.
Exactly. Then his second best player is Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray doesn't have an all-star appearance
at all.
And they put pieces that fit with those two. The team before that, Golden State. People thought Golden State was done.
I believe we are taking away the powers of the unsung heroes in that team.
Exactly.
About the Denver.
Exactly.
Gordon.
Yes.
Gordon.
Super guy.
Michael Porter's Jr.
There you go.
Those guys, and we saw Caldwell Pope.
Exactly.
That season they won the championship.
He left and see how they. So the thing is, I'm not. So when I knew when I said stars don't win. When people watch this, they're going to be like, who's that guy? It's not about stars alone. It's the pieces around those stars. Whoever thought that there will be an NBA team that the best player on that team will be a 7-footer that can't jump higher than 3 pieces of bread. The camera might not show it, but my stomach is sizable now. I hear I look like a chief from time to time. But I think I still jump higher than Nikola Jokic. But he's a 7-footer that is the entire offense.
Yeah.
He had Jamal Murray that has never been to an all-star, but remembers how to play basketball once it's playoff time.
Yeah.
Like you said, you called Michael Porter Jr. He has never scored more than 17 points in an NBA season, but he's still very valuable. Aaron Gordon couldn't find his fitting when he was at Orlando.
Yeah.
See him now. So you look at the ensemble of that team and how that roster was built. It's not like their star wasn't their best player, but he had pieces around him that made him work. You asked me about Derek White. He's nobody's star, but he's an important cog in that wheel that makes the Celtics work. I don't think Draymond Green should be called a star too. He's a star role player. I just want money. I want Wednesday.
So Kenny. So Kenny, looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, who would we call the combination of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo? Would you call them a star power?
I would use far as well. They were a team that worked together. All right, Giannis. I mean, he had the IP, he had the everything, but Drew Holiday was that one player that doesn't care about the headlines, right? And he just wanted to work for the team. And I'm still surprised, right, that Milwaukee Bucks, they kind of fell off last season. And I'm hoping that this new season they would,
Last season they had 3 coaches. They sacked Mike Budenholzer, Adrian Griffin, and they had to go for the Lakers.
Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers. And I basically just feel Doc Rivers is not the man to be at the ends of our fair, right?
Yes, we can say that. But for Milwaukee Bucks, right, what they did with Drew Holiday and Giannis, the question is, can they do it again with Damian Lillard? I do not think so.
What do you think, Farah, about the inclusion of Damian Lillard last season? So the progression of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
First of all, you trade out a point of attack defender, Drew Holiday, and you get an offensive unit, Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is working offense. He was Portland's offense for all of his years there. Right. He got there immediately and he became Portland. So first of all, now you're having to blend an offensive unit with another. I don't know. I won't call him an offensive unit. A force of nature, Giannis. that's the best way to describe him. Yeah. So the problem is, you could tell that there were problems with both guys understanding their style of play. I think we reviewed the season and we said the pick and roll between those two will be magic to watch. Yeah. It wasn't magic to watch. Another problem was Dame Lillard has always been a minus on defense.
Yeah.
Losing Drew Holiday exposed what I think is one of the oldest teams in the NBA.
I think they saw that was why they had to go into the market to trade for Patrick Beverley.
Guess what? When you bring on Patrick Beverley and you bring on Damian Lillard, you have 2 guys that are about 6'1", 6'2".
Wow.
And NBA coaches are smart now. They know you have 2 front court guys that are small. They get into plays that give you a mismatch. Patrick Beverley is a great defender, but he's nowhere close to what Drew Holiday is. Yeah. And Drew Holiday is a bit bigger, stouter, so you can move him around when you have bigger guys. So This season, I think they'll be better. They have a full off-season. Clippers has more time to implement his style. And if I'm no coach, but if I were to be the coach, wait, I don't the coach. I don't remember. I'm the coach. But if I were to coach, I'll say lean on your best players and their strengths. Brook Lopez is old.
Yeah,
It's slow.
it's very slow.
Very.
Chris Middleton has had as many injuries as my grandpa and grandfather had. You get. So if you can't trust those guys to be on the court, you need to accentuate the powers of your best two guys. Be on the offensive every time. If you score more than the opposition, you can't lose.
That move to the Kings for Dama, do you think is practically saying that there's no chance for him to win a championship anymore? That's why he's going to a team such as Sacramento Kings.
I won't say he thinks he doesn't have a chance to win the championship anymore. I feel like, I mean, these players, they have their reasons why they joined this club, so I don't think I can get into their ad. But for that move to Sacramento Kings, maybe because I like Sacramento Kings and I like what I feel like they have a lot to offer in the NBA. So for this guy moving to Sacramento Kings, maybe he's thinking to himself, probably I want a new chapter, I want a new challenge, and let's see what I can bring to, what I would give to Kings and what Kings will bring to me. So if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, then watch you said might just be accurate.
Farah, in 1 minute, what does Klay Thompson bring to Dallas Mavericks that they don't have already?
Shooting. You have two guys that can score on their own, that drive, penetrate. They just need a shooter. Their problem in the finals was they had no spacing. So what he brings is spacing. Now you have a first five that will start Kyrie, Luka, Klay Thompson. Derrick Jones has gone to the Clippers, so it will be either a combination of a small guard and Derek Lively. You have shooting, finish.
Basically shooting. And ever since his departure from the Washington Wizards, he went to the Lakers. Left the Lakers, he went to the Clippers, and he hasn't been the same since that departure from Washington Wizards. I'm talking about Russell Westbrook right now. What does Russell Westbrook stand for in today's NBA? Should we still say that he's still a force to be reckoned with in a team such as Denver that we know that is never going to call the shots?
I think it might be bold, but I don't think Russell Westbrook will start in Denver. So this is me thinking he might be the sixth man, right? And I feel like it's Denver doing him, I feel like to Denver, it's Denver helping him rather than Russell. I might be wrong, but yes, I feel like it's Denver helping Russell because I don't think he has anything else to play in the NBA. He has lost it. He gave us good memories, right? But for Westbrook, the fact that it didn't work out, with the Los Angeles Clippers, and it just feel like for Westbrook, he has just lost it completely. But let's see what he's going to do at Denver.
So, Farah, in no time, how would Chris Paul help Wembanyama in San Antonio Spurs going forward this season?
Doing the same thing he's been doing all his career,
and he's never won a championship.
That's the problem. He's not going to win here. Let's not get it wrong. That's the youngest roster in the NBA. They still have a lot of learning to do, and that is what he does best outside of being probably the smartest basketball player since maybe Magic Johnson or LeBron. He makes guys better. People around him will become better. That team has him and Harrison Barnes on the roster. So they have matured guys that have played in conference finals, that have playoff experience. And now when Wembanyama gets to play with someone that will actually pass him the ball. He had all of those stats that he had playing with minutes restrictions. Imagine him being unleashed on the NBA and the world without restrictions and without probably the best pure dime passer of the ball. The team will improve. I still don't think they'll make the play-ins, but there will be marked improvements, and this will be better for Wembanyama.
All right, Kehinde, before we go, I would want you to just make your prediction for the upcoming season.
Okay.
Who do you think would, be the NBA champions come the end of the season?
Okay, see.
That's bold, but it's not far from it. They're still. I think they're still too young. I think.
I just want to probably be a little bit different.
Will I be mad to think that Boston Celtics will win the NBA championship 3 times in a row?
No,
you won't.
They have everybody signed. They have continuity.
They have all it takes. Everything. Yeah.
Who will emerge as the top team player this season?
Luka Magic for me.
Luka Magic. How about Giannis Antetokounmpo? Are we writing him off already?
So I don't like his. I don't like him. You took my answer. I think he's coming back. I've seen videos of his workouts. He's bigger, still as fast as he was, and finally he looks like he's paying more attention to his number one weakness, his shot. If Giannis can have a semblance of a good jump shot, he becomes unguardable.
I think every year he improves on that, angle every year.
But you know what? You can tell that he's improved on the shot, but he doesn't trust it. He's one of those players that goes to their strengths, which is he's stronger than everybody.
And I saw a footage where he was talking to some, kids he was, training with, and so at some point he said, without the cameras, he's a very great shooter, but with the camera, so
we see it at the free throw line. Once there's pressure and they start counting for misses, he needs to. It's a mental thing. Yeah, but he's not as bad as
on you, Farah. This is the last question for today, and I want to ask, who are the players to watch out for in this year's rookie class?
In this year's rookie class, I'm sorry to say this, but this is one of the worst rookie classes ever. I mean, so I will be looking at Reed Shepherd at Houston Rockets. I will look at Alex Sarr, not because I think he's one of the best. He had a terrible offseason. His summer league was atrocious, worst numbers ever. But there's something that has to be said for a 7-footer that is athletic and rangy as he is. He can run, he can block shots. So I think, summer league, everybody's trying to get a roster spot to the NBA. So they weren't passing him the ball, getting him into good positions. Him getting better will determine whether Wizards will be again in the lottery pick or moving upwards. So I'll be looking at him and Reed Shepherd.
It's the much we can take on today's edition of Meshview Sports, and I hope you all enjoyed the conversation so far, and it's great to have you, Farah and Kehinde, join me on today's episode of Meshview Sports. Till come your way again. Bye for now.